back right. Let's Mark, and then we'll go to Chris.
Kalen, Diego was such a big factor last year. He had the one, I think, 36-yard run, and you guys bottled him up. Otherwise, what was the plan to try to contain him?
Yeah, a lot of just the discipline, and the hardest ones are when he takes off and runs and then still keeps his eyes downfield, and you're drawn to him. You come off your man with your zone, especially in zones, and I know he got a couple first downs that way where he just flipped it out there. So again, everyone's just you got to contain, and that's easier said than done. He gets out in space, and they do a good job of moving the pocket, so he's not just sitting back there. And then they got enough other threats, and they get rid of it quick. The option game and all of that, they got good personnel besides him.
Chris?
Kevin, quarterbacks are such magnets anyway, but could you talk about the confidence this team has now, or has had really, in Ty, in the way he's played, and certainly in big downs?
Yeah, we do, and you can feel it in the calls that we're making. We're aggressive. I mean, we're backed up in our own territory and throwing the ball down the field with some play action and shots. Ryan catches one down the right sideline there, and when you can do those things and you trust your quarterback as a play caller, and he goes and makes those plays, there is a lot of confidence. I think we still haven't hit our full swing here like I think we were capable of as an offense, especially with finishing drives. But there's no doubt that I think our defense sees what we can do offensively, and now it's a little bit of a balance too, where the offense sees what the defense can do if they just continue to stay the course and do a good job. The adjustments, the physicality continues to get better and better as a football team. I love the way we compete right now.
Let's go to Jim on the left side of the room.
The two timeouts, even before they scored, before the half, how much of that is gut by you, or is there a book you look at, and how important was that drive that you saved time for before the half?
Yeah, it was huge. It was huge. And you're playing the percentages, right? You're playing the percentages to just give yourself as much opportunity. You're letting them get a good play call, and it goes both ways, and they did a nice job scoring, but you're playing the percentages that you're going to have as much time as possible. And with our offense, again, getting in a rhythm like that, like we did, I'm really proud of the fight and just the belief to go down the length of the field in a short amount of time like we had. So that's that happens in practice. We call it clutch, 2-minute drill every single week, and we did it a lot in fall camp. And there's a lot of opportunities that I think our system allows for whatever you call, it's probably going to be wrong. And so the guys are understanding that. Ty's understanding it. You can see some of those windows that he's starting to hit. I love how we're going not just in the middle of the field now, but we hit some balls down the outside. So, defense got to cover the entire field, short, long, sideline to sideline.
Let's go to Joe in the middle here, second row.
Just building kind of off that, you had great play from the wide receivers today, Ryan, Jeremy, and Isaiah. Ryan kind of improvising on the rollout, and then Jeremy finishing that 2-minute drive. Just can you talk about the impact of those wide receivers and how they're really progressing?
Yeah, they're just they're competitors. They all have a little something different. I mean, there's a ton of overlap on their skill sets. I think they can all do things with the ball, but you see Isaiah going up, just big, tall target, and just grabbing the ball out of the air. In between safeties and corners and along the sideline. He's done that a number of times now. That's awesome for a quarterback to have that. And so as a group, it isn't just those three. Latsier and Rico, caught a nice ball over the middle today. Just the guts and the pride that group has in each other, and as a unit to go out there and keep getting better. They push each other in practice. That's what's cool to see. They're good friends. They all want to be out there, but it's a healthy competition, much like we've talked about in other positions. So great job by those guys, finding a way to get explosives. Really, a third and extra long, we still believe we can convert it. We don't want to be in those spots, but I feel like we're calling plays to where if there's any time for Ty, he's going to make the throw, they're going to make the catch. And if you come after us and get singled up, that's an opportunity right there too.
Stay on the right side, EG.
Coach, what's the next step that needs to develop in this offense to become that complete offense that you're envisioning?
Just keep getting better in all the things that I feel, the run game, finishing drives, a couple times now the last couple weeks, just finishing drives when we get those spots. So and just also understanding what our strengths are. I know we had a turnover today, they're early, but just taking care of the football. That is a huge piece of our success. We're not putting the defense in very many tough positions, and so just make sure our strengths are our strengths and keep bringing the things that we know we got to get better at along.
I'll finish up on the far right, Dan.
Kalen, what was the week like with the team, but specifically with Ty emotionally, just knowing there was going to be some noise coming out of the other side and things like that? How did you want him to get caught up in that, or did you not want him to? What was the mentality there?
Well, there's enough to where it's not just this week, right? There's enough to where you can't help but hear it. I can hear it in the questions we get asked, in press conferences and with y'all and stuff. And so, it's out there. And the thing I'm really proud of, this is what I talk to the guys about. Our guys right now are just showing up and doing the work. That's what's got us to this point, and just keep reminding them, and it gets really tempting, and I'm sure there'll be something, something that pops up, but they're doing a really good job of just showing up and doing the work and focusing on us, and this is what you get. You get these games that are going to go 4 quarters in the SEC. I showed them a stat. I think you guys probably find something where I'm wrong on this, but I believe there was 12 games going into this weekend. I think 8 of them were 7 points or less. The other 2 were 10 points or less. These guys, won big at South Carolina, but these games are going to run the wire. And so I just love the way that our thought process and our mindset is that you got to be in it for 4 quarters. We've used the analogy of a 15 round heavyweight fight, and that's what it's got to be every single week. We got to go do that again this next week against Missouri.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thank you.